This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Congratulations, Jamie, to William Brashears. He is a man that has
richer today.
He's got an extra $250 in his pocket. So
nice.
Congratulations to him. I think he's a Morning Drive listener. But
if he isn't, he should be.
You're right. But I think everybody is, right? Everybody's a Morning Drive listener. But then I get humbled pretty quickly on that though too. So it's all you have to do is go to doublet973.com, enter the winning word, and you too could be an extra $250. Richer. Maybe fill up your gas tank, take your family out to dinner. Buy yourself a shirt that you've been wanting to buy and didn't want to spend that much on it, but you get a couple $100 extra in your pocket and you can do what you want with it. Man, not a really good night for the Big 12 last night, Jamie, in baseball. Not that we care about everybody else or even look at that very much, but UConn won over Kansas State last night, 4-0. Dallas Baptist won in Stillwater over Oklahoma State, 8-7. TCU went to Abilene and ACU beat them 8-3. And then UTRGV was a winner over Texas last night. So it was not the best of evenings for some in the Big 12.
UTRGV was leading that game at one point 15-1 in Austin.
That's crazy.
Man, that is crazy. They ended up winning 17-9.
17-9 was the final. Okay, they hadn't posted the final yet. I just knew that RGV had beaten Texas, and that was in Austin last night. That couldn't have been too pleasant for the Longhorns. Is that guy in a little bit of trouble? Do you think, Jamie?
Probably a little bit. Yeah. I mean, we know how Longhorn fans are, so. Yeah, and A&M's doing really well this year, so that'll make them mad too. So that'll make them want to fire their coach. You know how that goes.
Yeah, right. That's just. I mean, you throw the baby out with the bathwater.
It's always trying to keep up with each other.
Yeah. Rangers did not have a good afternoon yesterday, as they fell to the Detroit Tigers 4-2. Those two teams will play another afternoon game today. At least they're scheduled to. And listening to Matt Hicks yesterday on Double T 97.3, he was talking about the chances for rain today during the game, including up to 100% chance of rain. So pretty highly likely that maybe there could be some delays in today's game. The Braves beat the Astros yesterday 6-2, and those two teams will play again today, and we'll have it at 12:40 on 100.7 the score. All right, how about a little piece of good news, Jamie? The Texas Tech basketball team got two pieces of good news yesterday. One, they got a new commitment, but even more important, you got a commitment from a guy saying, I'm coming back. Darion Williams announcing that he was going to return to Texas Tech next year. Again, not that we had expected him not to, but it's always good to hear them say that they are coming back, right?
I mean, would he even have eligibility to do that since he's already transferred once?
Well, here's the deal. As long as that court case is out there, these guys are free to move about the country wherever they want to go, and the gals too. So, until they get that resolved, yeah, you can pick up and move as you want. I know. It's crazy. He was third on the team last year in scoring, 11.4 points, 7.5 rebounds a ball game. Shot almost 50% from the field and about 46% from three-point line, and then about 88% from the free throw line. But man, that it'll be great to have him back because he was on a tear to end the season. About 17 in the last 10 games is what he averaged. So that's good news to get him back. And then
great news.
Yeah, you're getting a transfer from Drake University. Of course, they've lost their coach. He went on to West Virginia. But Kevin Overton, who's a 6'5" guard out of Oklahoma City, he has selected Texas Tech as his next place of employment. And that's probably the right word to use, right? Employment, because they're being paid to be here. He averaged 11.3.
Or next, also probably the right word.
Yeah.
Probably no guarantee of last, but just next.
Next place of employment. Can I see your resume? Yeah. So Drake, Texas Tech, and hopefully he kind of gets here and says, hey, I kind of want to be here a little bit. 11.3 points for him, 3.3 rebounds overall for the season. Shot 44% from the field and 35% from three-point land. He was their third leading three-point shooter. He had 62 makes. Their leader had 87 for Drake last year. And then for him in conference play, Overton averaged 11 points ball game and 3.2 rebounds. Maybe he saw that we have a Overton neighborhood here and thought, that's a sign. That's where I need to be.
I'm sure it was exactly that. Nothing to do with the NIL money.
No, just saw that we've got a nice hotel named after him and a nice neighborhood named after him, and they probably put him up at the Overton when he came here. Mr. Overton, welcome to the Overton, and probably maybe they said to him, "Do you own this hotel, Mr. Overton?" No, I'm just here to visit.
Maybe so. Yeah. I think that's all very likely.
Well, considering how many times that I get asked on an annual basis, not that I'm keeping track, are you related to the Heinz family? No, I'm not. Not that I'm aware of. Maybe I am, and they just shunned me and said, "No, we really don't want his ilk or his kind." So anyway,
that's too bad.
Couple of good pieces of news yesterday for the Red Raider basketball team. Darion Williams saying he'll be back, and Kevin Overton saying, "I'm coming." So you've got a bit of a core there with your basketball team, and I'm sure they're adding on to it. It is 6:39 this morning on the Morning Drive. This Day in Sports History is next, and also a winning word, your chance to get signed up to win some money from the Home Zone and Double T 97.3. That's all next.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Yeah, we're going to start with 1933, mainly because of what this is and the timing of it.
Okay.
The Chicago Bears win their very first NFL game. It's April.
Okay.
Beating the New York Giants 23-21.
Why did they play a game on April the 17th?
Your question is as good as mine. It's April. 1947, Jackie Robinson bunts for his first major league hit today. 1951, New York Yankees Mickey Mantle's first game. He would go 1 for 4. 1968, A's first game in Oakland Alameda Stadium. They lose 4-1 to the Baltimore Orioles and never do any improvements for their stadium.
Since, right?
1976, the National League greatest comeback ever. Trailing 12-1, the Philadelphia Phillies beat the Chicago Cubs 18-16 in 10 innings at Wrigley Field. Mike Schmidt hits 4 consecutive home runs in the game.
Goodness. Or as Harry Callis probably said, Michael Jack Schmidt, the voice of the Phillies.
1987, Julius Erving becomes the third NBA player, and he also had spent some time in the ABA for this, to reach 30,000 career points.
Jamie, I saw online where you could buy a red, white, and blue ABA-style basketball. It brought me back to my youth of having a red, white, and blue basketball.
That's pretty cool, as long as it's not one of those rubber ones.
Yeah. Well, the rubber ones you used outside because the leather would get all torn up on the driveway, but there was nothing prettier than when that red, white, and blue was spinning and going through the hoop.
Oh, especially with your lefty hook shot. And your prowess at the free throw line.
Yes, right.
You and Fink display on occasion.
I'm just thinking of all the things that are actually prettier than a basketball going through a hoop, like, Bo Derek comes to mind immediately from that time frame. But,
Sure.
That's just where my head went on that conversation.
Bo Derek wasn't on my driveway, maybe in my mind, but not physically. If I hit this free throw, Bo Derek will go out with me.
Again, the prize is Bo Derek. It's not the ball going through. I'm sorry.
Right.
2016. The number 10 Texas Tech Red Raiders complete their 4th straight weekend series sweep Sunday afternoon with the Red Raiders downing San Diego State 7-2. Tyler Floyd drove in the first run of the afternoon with an RBI single in the second, while Michael Davis followed with a two-run single in an inning later. It is National Banana Day.
Okay.
Happy birthday to Jennifer Gardner, who's 52. Victoria Beckham is 50. Sean Bean is 65. And Boomer Esiason is 63 today.
Who is Sean Bean?
Okay, so the short answer for this is he's the best actor dying in movies. He has almost been killed in every movie he's been in. He's been in Lord of the Rings. He was in Clear and Present Danger, I think, with Harrison Ford. Plays I think he's from Scotland. Don't quote me on that. Blonde hair. When you see him, you immediately know who he is. And he dies in almost every movie he's been in. And on this day, I don't have to tell you what today was. Chuck has got it memorized.
Yeah, I know.
Chuck knows exactly where he was and what he was doing and has an engraving for it.
Apollo 13 splashed down today.
1970.
1970.
And that is this day in sports history.
Yeah. All right, that means it's time for the local winning word of the day at 6:49 this morning. Double T 97.3 has teamed up with the Home Zone. They make your house a home every day at 50th and Indiana. We're giving away a total of $10,000, and you could win some money just like William Brashears did yesterday. All you have to do is go to doublet973.com, enter the local winning word for your chance to win weekly cash every Tuesday and Thursday. So that's yesterday and tomorrow. The more times you enter, the more chances you have to win. It's not a national deal. It's a local deal. So the money goes to somebody that stumbles right around here in Lubbock, Texas, USA. And then we'll give a final cash giveaway of $2,500 at 2 Docks on Thursday, June the 20th. It's all from the Home Zone, making your house a home in Double T 97.3. At 6:45 this morning, our word is Spartans. Spartans, Spartans, Jamie, Spartans. Okay? Spartans. Yep, we were in Mrs. Kroger's class there at Golden Oaks Elementary, and they wheeled in the TV, and we were going to watch the splashdown, and we waited, and we waited, and we waited, and just like in the movie, Walter Cronkite saying, if the astronauts do not return within a certain period of time, they could be lost forever. And we thought there for a moment that they were lost forever, and then the parachutes showed up and Apollo 13 splashed down in the ocean. And that is this day in sports history and your winning word of the day. All right. 6:51 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that, or the mobile app. Jamie, we have 3 more Texas Tech football players in the transfer portal. Not household names, but Bryson Donnell, that's a name you probably recognize. Anquan Willis also in the portal. They're both running backs. And then Tredarius Brown, defensive tackle, is in there as well. They weren't expected to get much playing time, so that's kind of a little bit of movement from yesterday as far as the Texas Tech football team is concerned. I guess that opens up an opportunity either to award a scholarship to somebody that's on the scout team or a walk-on, or bring somebody in?
Yeah, unfortunate that you have two running backs there, because obviously one of them was going to be expected to be your third back. Mm-hmm. And so that's not ideal. It'd probably be difficult to get a guy through the transfer portal to come in and say, hey, we're looking for a third back. Because if a guy's leaving somewhere else, mm-hmm. he's probably not looking to go somewhere where he's going to be playing third fiddle, right, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like you suggested. It might have to be somebody that has to step up, opens up an opportunity for somebody else.
Yeah. So, I mean, and you get an opportunity to kind of promote maybe from within, which always, is probably motivating to those around them, seeing somebody get rewarded for, being a good practice player, and maybe somebody that's shown some big improvement in the spring that, whether it's their conditioning or their strength, or they put on some weight and the right kind of weight, and worked on their craft, with their particular position, that they get rewarded with a scholarship. We get this from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Chuck was just waiting to do that terrible Walter Cronkite impression. Wow. I don't know. It just kind of came on. So, can't be great every day. Just try to be somewhat. Some days. Do the best that we can as we go through the world here on the Morning Drive. It is 6:54 this morning on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. We invite your comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app. It's presented by Happy State Bank. Or you can express them to us on the Visual Edge IT hotline. That number is 806-771-0973. Good morning.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Drive. The sun is coming up today, although it feels like it should be a little cloudy, with the Red Raiders losing last night 9-8 in Fayetteville against Arkansas. My
little weather doodle thing here says it's mostly cloudy.
Mostly cloudy.
So, got your wish.
Some would say it's cloudy. It's not even partly just cloudy. Jamie, it felt like a playoff atmosphere last night. Did you have that sense too? I mean, it just looked and felt like a high stakes game, even though it was April the 17th and it's a non-conference affair.
Yeah, I think that comes from two proud programs. I think it comes from a lot of fans being in the crowd, all the above, and making great atmosphere.
Yeah, it certainly was. And do you worry about? And I know not that you worry about everything, but when just meaning this, kind of looking at this, do you worry about like last night carrying over to today?
You'd be silly. You'd be silly to not think that was a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, just kind of looking at the body language when they were showing the guys in the dugout. I mean, you could tell there was certainly a level of dejection. I mean, also given the fact that these guys have been on the road since last Wednesday, when probably ready to kind of get in their own beds, so to speak, and.
I don't think that had anything to do with them being sad last night.
Oh, no, I don't. But I mean, but today, what I'm thinking about today, no, they're sad because they lost the ball game, right? Not because they're not going to go sleep in their own bed. Disappointed, probably dejected, all those things, because they're not stupid. They know they had an opportunity to win a ball game last night and let it slip through their grasp. Couldn't get out of the fifth inning, and then allowed a run in the eighth, and then the two errors there in the ninth, and the sacrifice walk-off kind of did them in. We get this from Marquise. This is, I think, well said. He says this, Jamie, all we can ask as fans is to keep watching and hoping for the best. Yeah. Hoping for the best. We get this question. Don't know why you don't use your big guns against the number 2 team in the country when we have a lead late. Really head-scratching. Any thought on that comment, Jamie?
Well, Josh Sanders had thrown on both Friday and Sunday. So I don't think you wanted to use him in three times in 5 days.
Yeah.
I assume that's what they're talking about there. You used Hugh Terra. He's your other big gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, maybe you use Josh today. I agree with wanting him to be in there. I get it, but I think you're thinking long haul here. You can't, he threw pitches on Friday and Sunday. You can't keep going that many times to him. So you got to make sure he's ready for a big weekend series. So, but again, you might use him today now that he's had an extra day of rest in between that last outing.
And hoping that you could then, use him a couple of times if you need to against West Virginia this weekend. We get this. Obviously, giving up runs late in the game is attributed to bullpen issues. It's also attributed to, the errors that were committed. How do you explain putting up 7 runs in the first couple of innings and then cooling off for the rest of the game? It feels like this happens nearly every game.
I mean, you gave up some runs with your bullpen in last night's game. Yes. Okay. As far as bullpen issues, how'd your bullpen do last weekend?
It was pretty good.
Goose eggs.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
All weekend.
Do you give up? Do you score early and not? I mean, that definitely has happened some. Yeah, absolutely. But that happens for every team also. You got to their starter, no doubt. And they brought, if you look up and down their stat sheet at their best bullpen arms, they brought everyone out there. Every one of them. They were good, no question. And they knew they had a chance to get in the game. The big issue is if you don't allow the 6-run 5th inning, those guys never come into the game because they're not going to run them out there down, 7-2 or whatever. But you kept giving them an opportunity, or that I should say, you kept that 6-run 5th inning gave them an opportunity to go to those guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no way around it. It was a ginormous missed opportunity.
Let me ask you this. Do you know who's going to pitch for Arkansas today?
No.
Okay. But you don't think it'll be Mason Molina, do you?
Jeff said something about that a couple times last night. He threw over 100 pitches on Saturday. I don't know why in the world Arkansas would run him out there today. And then unless that was just a complete shove it up your what. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's their Saturday or Sunday starter. He threw 101 pitches on Saturday. Why he would be used in this game, I don't know.
Would seem silly, right? I mean, it would seem like a misuse of his arm. And
I don't know, unless they were saying, hey, we're going to give him an inning to use him for his bullpen work. I don't know.
Yeah, that is, you're exactly right. That is a shove it up, you know what. So, hope that doesn't happen today. But I guess if it does, it does. It gives you an opportunity to go out there and, those guys saw him. They know him. They're allowed to get hits against him. So maybe they'll knock him out of the ball game, Jamie. But we'll see.
Well, again, if he is out there, he's not going to be there for long.
Mm-hmm.
You would think it would be just for one inning or something. So.
Yeah. We'll have it for you today at 3:30. Balls and strikes at 4 o'clock. No announced starter yet for Texas Tech, as Jamie said earlier. And I don't want to take words out of your mouth, but kind of felt like it's going to be Johnny Allstaff today for the Red Raiders against the Razorbacks. And
yeah, my guess would be Hudson Parker. He started last Wednesday and was solid, so I would guess that he'll get another chance.
Okay. All right, so 7:22 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. We get this question, Jamie. I don't see a clear leader like we've had in the past. Could this be part of our problems?
Yep, I completely agree. I completely agree with the texter, and yes, I agree that it could be part of it. I don't know that for certain, but I definitely think it could factor in.
It's also just such a young team that it's hard to get that leadership when the guys that you're counting on, with the exception of very, very few, have been either with the program for a year or are freshmen and sophomores. Like, look around your infield. Look around your battery, your outfit. You've got guys that are first and second year on the team that you're relying on every day, in and out. It's young, talented guys. It's hard to be a leader when you're still being a freshman.
Jamie, a couple of questions here on the Yates Flooring Center chat line about the not bunting. Do you have a comment on the philosophy of this team or of Coach Tadlock from a bunting standpoint, or do you feel like that's somewhat on or somewhat unfair, or just overplayed in terms of, well, why aren't we bunting?
Well, I mean, let me be very clear here. I am not a sacrifice guy. Okay. I am not a sacrifice guy all the time. Okay. There are times when I think you can use it and you should use it, but I am not into giving up outs, and the numbers bear out. Don't give up outs. Okay. And in a game like this, I mean, if I'm inside the mind of Tim Tadlock and he knows what he's got and who he's going to use out of the pen and all that good stuff, he's probably thinking, hey, we got to have some big innings here. Okay, which you got them, and if you didn't get there, you got one. And if you didn't get that big inning, you're not anywhere close to winning this baseball game, right? So, again, I'll go back to the second inning with Harrelson at the plate and runners at first and third, and the third baseman playing way behind the bag. Okay, and I'll go to the third inning. Okay, and Gage ended up walking and then coming in to score. So if he had bunted and gotten thrown out, you wouldn't have had as big of an inning. Okay, so Jamie would have been wrong in that situation.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Time now for Jamie's question of the day on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3.
All right, gentlemen, we're going Red Raider basketball here. Kind of switch over to that side of things as we've talked a lot of baseball, and I feel like recently we've talked a lot of football with our question of the day. But today we're going to go with a Red Raider hoops, and I want to ask you guys, compared to what you expected last season going into the year, and I'll tell you specifically with me, I thought you were really a bubble team, that you would be a bubble team and you'd finish somewhere near 7th, maybe 6th in the Big 12 conference. Compared to last year, where do you think the team is heading into this year? Higher, lower, about the same? What are your expectations about where this team will finish? And I know, and it's part of the reason I'm asking the question, you have no idea what your roster is going to look like. That's part of the reason I'm asking this.
So you went 23-11. You went 11-7 in the conference. And what I was when you were kind of going through that, I was thinking, okay, so, can we do a deeper run into the NCAA tournament? And we know that that's so much about matchups, how you're playing at the time, obviously the roster makeup, health, right? All those things. I guess I'll just start with the guy at the top, because I think you knew that you were getting a good coach because he had won at Midland. He had won, obviously, during his time as an assistant at Baylor, coming off of winning at least a tournament, at North Texas with the NIT. And then you wondered, okay, can that translate to the Big 12, and can that translate to Power 5 basketball? And I think he answered those questions with a positive yes. So I guess when I look at this going into this season, I feel pretty good, Jamie, to the point where I would say I think you can improve by a game or so on your conference record. So maybe 12-8, or maybe, man, could you go? And they'll play 20 conference games. Let's see. Yeah, they'll play 20 conference games this coming year. I think that's the number. So you'll play a couple of more. So could you improve on your conference record a little bit? But I'd also like to see you improve on your non-conference record a little bit. So win those games that, some of those games that you lost in the non-conference to give you a little bit more momentum, like you lost to Villanova, and you had a loss there to Butler, even though it was in overtime. So I'd like to say you'll be at single digits in the loss column, and you'll win at least a game in the NCAA tournament. So I'm somewhat bullish going into the year.
Okay, so last year at this time, it was the whole thought process I had for men's basketball was, after the year that was, let's just get back to playing basketball again. Like I didn't need top tier basketball. I didn't need top 4 in the Big 12 basketball. Let's get middle of the pack again. Let's not completely get this aircraft carrier of a momentum swing the wrong direction. And with the firing of Mark Adams, that's where it looked like it was going to be going. So that was where I wanted this past year's team to go. And then to say that he cleared that like a pole vaulter would be an insult to pole vaulting. So my expectations are to continue this path of him getting in good players and getting them to work with their system and continuing to see the play that we saw last year. I don't think it's fair to say that I expect them to be 4th place in the Big 12 next year. I think it's absolutely possible. They could win the Big 12 next year. But let's go. You're looking at a team that is well inside the bubble. You're looking at a top 25 team throughout the course of the year, maybe top 20 team knocking on the door for the Sweet 16 type rankings before you get that far, and in that contention of winning a Big 12 title. That's kind of where my head's at for expectations for next year.
Okay. As I told you guys, I think I was thinking that you would finish around 7th in the Big 12 conference or 6th. And obviously you exceeded those expectations. And the fact that Coach McCaslin did that, having to pretty much revamp the entire roster, gives me a whole lot of hope that he can do the same thing this year when he's having to revamp this roster again. The challenge may be almost as big or bigger this season, just because the sheer number of guys that you're having to bring in. But you brought in a lot last year. I would say I don't expect you to finish tied for 3rd in the Big 12 conference next year. I don't think you'll finish that high. I think you'll finish higher than what I expected last year at 7, but I think you're maybe a 4 or 5 or 6 or somewhere in that range. But I do think you'll do better in the NCAA tournament, meaning you'll get at least one win. So I have a lot of confidence because of how good of a job Coach McCaslin did in such a tough spot last year. And it feels like it, in some ways it should be easier because now he's got a year under his belt here and he's shown that the program's heading in the right direction. And so maybe it's easier to recruit. I just, there's that other side of me that's like, okay, did we just somehow catch lightning in a bottle last year? Are we going to have the same amount of success? That's yet to be determined, but that's kind of where I am on this day without seeing what your roster is going to look like.
7:38 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Yeah, I just feel like that it feels like you're building a program, and it feels like that you're determining what your identity is going to be and then recruiting players for that. I think just seeing the way that they handled the bench last year and the way that they handled situations and the hard coaching, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, the bottom line is I feel pretty good, I think, about kind of the direction of where this thing is headed as far as the men's basketball team. They got Darion Williams. He recommitted yesterday, and then they pick up a Drake transfer, and I'm sure there's more to come.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Drive. Thank you for being with us today on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. With Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire, I'm Chuck Heinz. We come to you this morning from our respective First United Bank studios. As Jamie you'll be with us tomorrow morning, or at some point in time tomorrow, and you'll be here live and in color and in person. I bet are you excited to see us, Jamie?
I'm excited to be back in Lubbock. Yes.
Thank you.
I mean, he's been gone for a week. He's ready to be back.
Thank you. I mean, you didn't disappoint me at all with that response. So,
I mean, when he gets back, he's got to see Choice. He's got to see Clint. He's got to deal with everybody here. I mean, he's going to be happy to sleep in his own bed and see his wife and his children. Yeah, no doubt. And pet his dog.
Let me ask you this, Jamie. I think I know the answer to this question. This is not in the deep end of the pool. This is in the shallow end of the pool. Would you ever, if you walked into the break room and saw a pizza box that had been just left from last night and opened it up and there was a piece of pizza in it, would you be tempted to eat that pizza at any point in time in your life? Would you have been tempted to do that?
Sure.
Okay.
I would have put it in the microwave, but sure.
Okay. All right. That does surprise me a little bit. I was tempted to eat it this morning, but did not. But now it kind of makes me want to go back there and get it and put it in the microwave, heat it up, and kill whatever germs were on it from overnight. But it's only been out just a few hours.
I'm just going to say this, Chuck. There's one piece left. Mm-hmm. There wasn't just one piece in there when I got here this morning. I'm not going to tell you how many I had. I'm just going to tell you there wasn't just one left this morning.
Okay, good. I'm glad to know that's still out there. 8:04 this morning here on the Morning Drive. We've been talking quite a bit about the ball game last night in which the Red Raiders lost 9-8 after leading at one point in time 7-0. We get this, Jamie, from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. While it's frustrating, at least we lost to one of the best teams in baseball. The Shorthorns got punked by UTRGV. Doesn't necessarily.
Yeah, that is not good for their RPI, no doubt. I think I saw somebody on the chat line say the Red Raiders RPI actually went up 2 spots yesterday.
Okay,
which is not really a big surprise.
Right, but you'd love to have that. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Gavin Cash has been a leadoff double machine, and we continue to fail to score him. Maybe he doesn't make the most sense in the leadoff position when no one behind him can move him. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, let's get Bravo and Bazell backswing and the bats better.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. So you want to put? I mean, we're in a situation, right, where everything's bad, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you've lost 3 games in a row by a combined 4 runs. Okay, everything's bad. Okay, so what's better? Having Gavin Cash hit a double and stand there at second base, or having the first 2 guys get out and Gavin Cash get to second base with 2 outs and then somebody not knock him in? It's no different. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd rather have the first guy on base to create some havoc and put some pressure on the pitcher a little bit. If you're saying Cash is going to hit a double, either way, neither one of them are efficient. You got to put two hits together to drive him in somewhere along the way.
Yeah, and wasn't Gavin moved up in the lineup trying to get his bat going, and it worked?
Yeah, I mean...
So let's break something that was working.
He was struggling, no doubt, and he's doing a good job in the hitting in the leadoff spot for the Red Raiders. Of all the things that you want to be frustrated about right now, I would say Gavin Cash hitting leadoff is not one of them.
He's not one of them. Let me ask you this. Damian Bravo, do you expect to see him today, or do you think they'll allow him to rest a little bit?
We were told last night that he would be available to pinch hit. So I'm not sure. His health factors in. Harrelson struggling at the plate last night, 0 for 4 with a walk. Factors in. Would you go to Will Burns and play him back in center field again? Would you play Austin Green over there in center and put Owen Washburn in right? All those things would be possible, I would think, today.
Okay, 8:07 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Red Raiders in Arkansas play Game 2 of their 2-game series today. We'll have it at 3:30 with balls and strikes at 4 o'clock. Texas Tech now 26-12 in the season after losing last night to Arkansas 9-8.
Chuck, you went up 4 spots in the RPI. You're at 32 now.
Okay. So as we kind of hit the, I know it's not necessarily the home stretch yet, but you're getting pretty close. If you could wave the magic wand over this team, or if you had the fairy godmother came down and said, Jamie, I'm gonna grant you a wish here, or something along those lines, what would you like to see for the Red Raiders as they close out the regular year before the Big 12 tournament?
I'd like all the injured pitchers to be back. Could I have that?
You can. I don't know if that's realistic.
I want all 4 of them to be
like
back.
a fairy godmother's realistic.
No, sure,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
Do you expect to see Trendon Parrish again or Tabor Fast again?
I have no idea. No idea.
Yeah.
No clue. No knowledge on that situation. You could sure use them. And Brady Trombello and Zane Petty, too. You could use all 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
You could really, really use those guys. Those are 4 guys that thought were going to factor in, and they're not. If you want a different answer from me, how about you just go on a tear where you're killing it with runners in scoring position?
Yeah, what were you, 4 for 14 last night, and they were 5 for 14? I think that was the number that I saw. Yeah.
See, I think you guys are thinking small here. I mean, if we've got the magic wand, your starting pitchers don't give up another hit.
Okay. I was trying to be,
because if they don't give up another hit, I only need to score a 1-run a game.
That's boring. Let's let some base runners get on base and let the defenders make some great plays, turn some double plays, all that good stuff.
Then I would need 2 wishes.
Just not let them score runs, but we want base runners. That would be boring.
I think maybe more than anything else is just start doing the little things consistently well. That might be, if you could just do some of the little things well, that would go a long ways to helping you be in position to win or win ball games.
It's boring.
I know.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.